All right, hello and welcome to another edition of Cooking with Bryson. We have Chris Krebs, the director of CISA, joining us tonight. Tonight's charity is going to be Black Girls Code, so we will post the link there for those of you who haven't seen it before. So please donate to a great cause, helping Black girls and women get into programming. Certainly, Chris can talk a little bit real quickly about how important that is for all of us here in national security in the country. Logistics, if you have any questions, just throw them there at the bottom and we will get to them as you go. So Chris, very excited to make several things with you this evening.
Got it. Hey, thanks, Bryson. Good evening or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Yeah, so we picked Black Girls Who Code as our charity today. Obviously, with everything that's going on across the country right now, one thing that we're certainly acutely aware of at CISA is the need for diversity and inclusion within our workforce. And one of the things I've noticed is that I certainly, as I was growing up and I got to where I am, I probably had, well, not probably, no question, had a number of opportunities and access to education, training, and jobs that a lot of other folks out there didn't. So I can certainly hire across my leadership team to increase our diversity, but I think we also need to make sure that we're giving the opportunities to the folks that are coming up through the pipeline. One thing that I've said pretty consistently is one of the advantages I think we have here in the U.S. is our diversity of experiences, our diversity of thought, our diversity of capabilities. And when you look at, particularly from the state actor side, they tend to be monoculture or homogenous cultures without a great deal of diversity. So I really think that we have an opportunity here to take back the advantage from a blue team defender side. So that's why I think thanks Bryson for recommending Black Girls Who Code, and we're gonna we're gonna roll with that one today. All right, so tonight we got two things. We're gonna do an appetizer. We're gonna do an entree. Just to set things straight, I've already got the oven going at 400 for the tomatoes. I've also got out a side, which I'll duck out every now and then, but it'll be quick. I got the grill going, so I'm going to do two things. First and foremost, we're going to fry up some. Let me get the other oven going. We're going to fry up some oysters, and we're going to put them on a little Parmesan crisp, and then we're going to have two sauces, one on the bottom and one on top. And then you can do whatever you want on top. Usually put some cilantro or pickled onions, and then the sauces are, one's a sriracha mayo and the other is a avocado sour cream or crema. It's really simple. It's a winner every time, at least in my house, and it's pretty basic. The entree is also something that we do in my house all the time, year round. It's a very versatile base dish, and it plays pretty well in the summer, but also in the winter. And that's, I just call it shrimp pasta, but basically it's a bunch of grape tomatoes that are mixed up with a bunch of herbs and oil and wine and sugar and salt and pepper, and then thrown into a pan. You can do it in the oven, 450 for about 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes. Or you do them on the grill. It takes the same time, about 15, 20 minutes. If you do it on the grill, it gives a real nice smoky flavor. And then from there, I just toss it with pasta, grill some shrimp, move the shrimp around with it, put some other stuff like mozzarella and basil in, and that's the dish. But the tomatoes are also really good as a base for a pizza sauce. You can use them as a side dish just for dipping, scooping with bread. Yeah, Bryson's got the base. Yep, there you go. And you know, if you blend that up, it's a really solid base with some tomato paste and maybe some more tomatoes for a spaghetti. Again, if you do it on the grill, it's got a really nice smoky flavor. I make a spaghetti and meatballs where I smoke the meatballs, and I've got a smoky meat sauce. The smoke will knock your socks off. It's really good. But also, pizza on the big green egg. Do it pretty much particularly in the COVID time, been doing a lot of pizza on the egg. So working on the COVID-19. All right, so like I said, I got the grill going. I got the oven on. What I'm gonna start with is the tomatoes, and then we'll get back to the appetizer, but we just wanna make sure we get the tomatoes going. So what I've got here.
Hey Chris, what are we drinking?
Oh, so here's my normal routine, and this is really bad offset because I'm telling you my routines. So I usually have a beer. It's lame, but I have a beer, and it's typically an IPA. And then after that, I'll have a glass or two of wine. And given the weather, don't mock me, but it tends to be like rosé. So I'm going to start with a beer. It's a super soft IPA from Sloop Brewing out of Hudson Valley, New York. It's pretty good. I had one last night. And the glass, I borrow glasses from bars a lot. This one's from St. Martin, or formerly of Martin's in Charlottesville, Virginia. No longer there, but a place I went to every now and then in college. Had a really good wings. R.I.P. St. Martin's. All right, so I poured that horribly, but I'm under gun.
Cheers. Congratulations on winning the Best IT Boss Award, BetScoop.
Thank you. Yeah, those, more than anything, I just got a good team. And it's an honor to be among that crew. Anytime you're in a cohort with Nakasone, tend to take good things away from that. All right, so like I said, I got the tomatoes here, 4 pints of grape tomatoes. Actually, some of these are like little mini San Marzanos. So I dump them in a bowl. I got my Costco size olive oil. And one thing I'll tell you about everything I do, everything I cook, I don't really measure particularly well. I eyeball it. Now I've made this dish for these tomatoes in particular, like for 15 years. So I got it down pat, I think. But I usually I'll go ahead and do it the right way. Probably about a cup of olive oil in there. It's a lot, but it really helps. I think, give you a good sauce, maybe a little bit more too. All right, so maybe like a cup and a quarter. All right, now
what makes
next,
it cook. You just eyeball it.
Yeah, right. It's an art, not a science. So next, I put wine in there. Like I said, rosé, and again, it's probably about equal parts. Wine to oil. I like getting some additional liquid in there. What happens when you cook them though is the tomatoes pop, and a lot of the juice in the tomatoes comes out, and again, it thickens it up. It gives it a little bit more juice. So this can be as kind of liquidy, saucy as you want. All right, next I get some kosher salt. Probably, I don't know, I use about a handful, so that's maybe about I think I said like a tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon and a teaspoon. Same thing goes on sugar. Didn't get the sugar out. Hold on. So I'll do this the right way here. So I get, solid, same part salt to sugar. Again, that helps kind of balance out the acidity of the dish. And then I got thyme. So I got fresh thyme, but you can use dry thyme as well. Usually you use about a teaspoon of dry to a tablespoon whole. So what thyme, we grow it, but I just bought it. So I just usually get it in these packs. Strip the
leaves from the stems.
The leaves, yeah. And then run a knife over it. It's not really, it doesn't have to be super fine. Again, this is a really rough dish. I got 5 kids and they eat a lot. And so I'm going for quantity and to a certain extent speed. So yeah, just chop it up. And then for this one, I think I got probably a little over a tablespoon of fresh thyme. The thyme, it depends on the thyme. Like dry thyme can be a little crazy with, I think, the lemony flavor. So then I got a big bunch of oregano, same deal. This is probably about 2 to 3 tablespoons of oregano. Oregano for me, I put it in everything. Mexican dishes, Italian dishes, any pasta. So yeah, throw about 2 tablespoons in there. I'm saving a little bit of thyme and a little bit of oregano, maybe a teaspoon or so each for the shrimp. So just hold on to that. I got the salt, pepper. All right, so that's it for the herbs. I'll throw, always put a little bit of crushed pepper, fresh ground pepper in there. And again, the idea here is just to get this going so we can turn on to the other stuff and don't have to wait.
So the biggest thing that surprised me when I was looking at this is there's no onions.
No, No, well, I got onions for another dish. So I made these this afternoon, pickled onions. I put these on everything, and I'll tell you how to make those in a minute. That's about the easiest thing you could do. And if, I try to copy, I don't know if you follow David Chang on from Momofuku and Sambar on Instagram. Like, he's been in lockdown during COVID, and he's staying with a friend, I guess, so he doesn't have like his pro grade kitchen, and so he improvises. And I guess the parlance in the chef community is sandbagging, so he cuts corners on stuff. And so what I've got here is a bunch of minced garlic. This is probably 10 cloves. I go heavy on garlic, particularly if it's cooked everywhere. And so this is, you got more than me, but so what I usually do, like,
you can never have too much garlic. It's impossible.
So I'll chop it if I have to, but I usually go with the big Costco minced garlic container. We'll see how much is left in there. I bought that in April, and I was out of town for about a month, so we use that on everything. So garlic, again, throw most of the garlic in there, and again, that's about 10 cloves. So I'll save a clove or two for the shrimp. And I know I'm going fast here, but this dish, really, you can't go wrong. It's so easy, so basic, and like to the point where you probably read the recipe, and you're like, what the hell? This is nothing. I don't understand why we're doing this. But it just really does come together, particularly if you got smoke on it. You can do it on any kind of grill, gas grill, charcoal. I got some charcoal out there going right now. The key is you want to get some char on it. So if you got the oven going, I got it at 400. You probably go up to 450. And if you want to throw the broiler on at the end. So what did you cook yours in, Bryson? Just a pan?
So yeah, what I've got here is I've already smoked and blistered my tomatoes. So I've just combined it with everything with the olive oil, and I'm going to just low heat it until the rest of it.
Got it. All right, so what I do,
really nice sauce.
Okay, so I get these little cake tins. These are probably 30 years old, but they've been in the Big Green Egg countless times. Let me just make sure I got everything here. Yep. And then I just kind of split them evenly between the three. And you can use a saute pan like that. You can use a disposable aluminum tin. It doesn't really matter. I've used Pyrex before. Problem with Pyrex on the or white ceramic. The problem with that on the egg is it gets some smoke stain on it. But yeah, it's all right. So I got them across 3. I can normally do with 4 pints. I can usually get them in 2, but yeah. Just try to eyeball it, get them even. Again, this is not science. All right, so I'm gonna go.
You can also adjust it afterward, right? If you're going, you can adjust it afterward, right? I mean,
yeah. Because you'll all pull it. You can pull it all back together. But again, I made more than I'm gonna need for this dish because I like having leftovers. I got pints of it or quarts of it in the old faux containers in the freezer. All right, so I'm gonna put 2 of these out on the grill, and I'm gonna do one in the oven. Let that go. I got it at 475, it's fine. I'm preheating up the other oven because when I come back, we're gonna start the Parmesan Crisps, which is the base for the appetizer. So I'll be right back.
How y'all doing at home? Pretty excited about this one. I think this is our first time doing both an appetizer and an entree. So I'm curious to see how this all comes out, and we get to make a full meal and really enjoy it.
All right. So the tomatoes are on the grill. Got to say hello to my kids as I banished outdoors because they're loud as hell. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is make the Parmesan Crisps. And basically all I did was get shredded Parmesan. You can use the bag kind, it doesn't matter. It's, again, sandbagging, trying to get it like pre-shredded makes it a lot easier. So what I'll do is grease the pan, and then just get clumps of the Parmesan and just drop them on the tray. Now I only got 6 oysters. What did you get, Bryson? You had a whole bag.
Yeah, I did.
So I make these for holidays, like the beach, and I'll make 30 at a time. And usually I'll shuck them, or again, sandbag trick, get them in the can. Get the jarred pints of oyster, the selects. They're just as good as anything because you're frying it. You're not eating it raw. So
I ended up with 7. I ate several of them earlier.
Yeah. So honestly, the first 4 weeks of shutdown, so through March into April, I ordered 50 oysters a week from a place called Rappahannock River Oyster. You probably heard of it. There used to be one in the Union Market, and then I think Union Station, and Union Market too. But I'd get them to come every Friday. That was like our joke, like, what food am I eating today? Taco Tuesdays, Oyster Friday. So we do those and make like mignonette and did a soy ginger sauce. Anyway, but we got sick of eating them raw, which is weird, but we start doing, I did this once, and then also make them like char grilled, which is the New Orleans style, the Dragos down there. But we do it at the beach all the time. And I just made it up one day. So anyway, again, we're gonna do here is we're gonna throw the crisps in to the oven, and they'll go for like 400, 5-ish, 7, 10 minutes maybe. Basically, you don't want to overcook them. Make more than you need because you may break some when you pull them out. And then when we do that, we'll get the oysters ready. As the oysters are frying, we'll make the sauce. The tomatoes are going. Tomatoes will take about 25 minutes. So with that, let me, is that still preheating? What I'll do here is I got a couple oysters left that I didn't shuck.
So what I'm going to do to make my Parmesan a little bit easier is I'm going to take tin foil, and I'm actually going to turn it into like little sandbagged, almost like cupcake holders. And so I'll spray those down, and the Parmesan will cook inside it. It'll form a nice little shape, and it'll come out really easily because it'll be oiled out.
Look at you. All right,
well, I can't find my cupcake tin. I don't know where it is. I wasn't ready for that.
So shucking oysters is pretty easy. If you don't have a glove, if you don't do oysters, that's fine, obviously. But get yourself a glove, get an oyster knife. It's so easy to do. You just grab it. If if you're right-handed, grab it in your left hand. Oh, hi, you're open. Might not eat you. Find the back hinge, grab it firmly, knife, and then just dig right into the hinge and then twist. And it'll pop the hinge, slides right off. This guy was peeking at me. I'm not going to eat him. So I want my 89 cents back. All right, so I got 5 oysters. They're ready to go. What I'm going to do is fry them up in some vegetable oil. I got flour. I got an egg. I'm going to season the flour. I'm going to drop it in egg, season it in flour, and then put it in some oil that's probably about 375-ish. So just use a normal pot, stock pot. We're not preheated yet. Getting there though. So I'll put about an inch or 2 of oil in here. I have a tabletop fryer outside, but it's too much trouble right now.
So you can see, you throw those together like that, spray it, drop some cheese in.
Let me see that. Yeah, look at you. All right. Most important thing throughout all of this, you got to stay hydrated. It's very taxing. All right, so crack an egg. Just since I only have 5, I only got 1 egg. Got on the stove, I got it at about medium. All right. And then not too much flour because I only got 6, but a couple tablespoons. Salt, pepper. Teaspoon of salt, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of, probably a little paprika, garlic powder. You can put whatever you want in there. Not. We're just gonna roll with this, which is what we got. Salt and pepper. So just with the oysters, pull them up. I just throw them in the egg wash. It's not even egg wash, it's actually egg. And then dredge them in the flour, and you knock off the excess, and then just put them over to the side, let them hang out so they're all ready. Because again, I'm only doing 6, so I'll just let them sit in here. Usually I do wet hand, dry hand, but again, that's what I'm doing, like 30 of them. It's not a few things grosser than a hand caked flour and egg. All right, so these are all about done. Again, knock them off. I know the camera setup sucks, so bear with me. All right. So now we got the oven's ready. So I'll throw the crisps in. What can you see out the window? I'm just making sure. All right, so that's going in. Again, keep an eye on it, maybe a little over 5, somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes, depends on the oven. I usually try to clean up as I go. It just makes end of dinner that much easier, but I don't have that luxury right now. We gotta check out the tomatoes in a second. We're not there yet. All right, so sauces, mayo, sour cream. Make these real quick. All right, so first with your avocado, slice, twist, pop the seed. There you go. Usually I'll do like the little crosshatch. Makes it easier to whisk up. So it's an avocado crema sriracha mayo. Just a good kind of balancing of hot and creamy. I don't know if that's a balancing, but whatever. So I'll just put a whole avocado in a bowl.
Since Chris mentioned pickled onions, making pickles at home is actually really easy. Just take a leftover jar. You can even reuse the vinegar and juices from the old jar, or to make your own, it's pretty simple. Just vinegar, some water, and throw in whatever herbs you want. Obviously, garlic and dill are pretty common. You can experiment with some other things. And cucumbers, onions, throw it in the garlic, throw it in the fridge, and within 3 to 5 days, you've got pickles. And you don't have to do anything fancy about canning.
Yep. Pickled onions are even easier. Pickled onions take as much time as you want. But what I usually do is I'll get about a cup of water and a cup of either, I'll try to use apple cider vinegar, but sometimes use rice wine vinegar. About a tablespoon and a half or so of sugar, a tablespoon and a half of salt. Put it in a pot, bring it to a boil, and let it cool. And then at the same time, slice your onions really thin, and then drop them in a mason jar. And then, yeah, I put peppercorns, typically bay leaves if I got them, and then slice a couple garlic cloves in half. And then for this round, since I had fresh oregano and thyme, I put fresh oregano and thyme in there. But anyway, it takes like 30 minutes to an hour maybe to come out with that pink red color. And I use it on tacos, phenomenal on tacos, a good grilled steak, really good on that, particularly if you make like an ahi verde sauce. Anyway, good stuff. All right, so this was half an avocado. I'm gonna put a quarter lime squeeze in there, about a quarter cup of sour cream, maybe. It should give you that good, the lime, maybe a little salt, yeah. Pretty good. All right.
Mixing it up, I did one with the mayo and sour cream base and horseradish.
All right, so check your Parmesan. These are close. Tell you what, trick here again, sandbag trick. The fake stuff, meaning the bagged stuff, works a lot better than the real stuff, than like the freshly shredded. I think it's probably the preservatives, the coating they put on it. All right, so I'm gonna go check my tomatoes in just a second. I'm getting the sriracha out of the oven or the fridge. So the tomato, the ones in the oven still need another like 15. Understanding we're pushing it on time. So add your mayo. You get about a quarter cup mayo. Sriracha. This doesn't really need salt or anything. This should be good to go. I like, to me, more sriracha the better. I like a little heat. Oil should be about ready. Let me go outside, check on the tomatoes. The Parmesan Crisps are close.
Just a reminder, folks, feel free to throw your questions in the Q&A panel. Doesn't have to be limited to just what we're making. If you have something else you'd like to talk about, although we are going pretty quickly here through this recipe.
Yeah, Bryson, you'll have to monitor the Q&A for me. Give me 1 second. Let me go check.
Yeah,
tomatoes. getting a spoon to stir up the tomatoes.
Anticipating the next question, since I've upgraded from my Macallan, I've poured a bottle of red, say 2005 Chateau Haut. I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend I don't know how to pronounce that last one.
All right, tomatoes are coming along. They're getting there outside. All right, so let's go ahead and see what we got here with the. All right, so I'm gonna put the reconfigure here. All right, so I'm gonna drop the oysters in. Gotta find my slotted spoon. So I've got an 18-month-old. That makes it real fun to find things. All right, so I'll use this guy. So I'll drop it in my hand just gently. Yeah, about medium. We're good. It'll sit on the bottom when it pops up and it looks nice and brown and crispy. We'll know it's good to go. So with that, just have a plate ready. Here at the bottom. Have a plate with a paper towel ready to go. When you pull them off, they got something to drain on. Put the fan on. Low. I'll flip it over one. So I drop them in there by hand, drop them away from you so then splash. Don't overcrowd because it will drop the temperature of the oil. So these, this should be ready in a second. This, it's low, oysters at, medium 375 don't take too long at all. But what you're looking for is the float up, everything kind of crisping and browning. Right, I got the sauces, I got the oysters going, the crisps will be done in a second. Tomatoes are going, I'll try to get some video. Maybe I'll bring the iPad out real quick to show you them on the grill. Of course, as I was prepping the grill, one of the hinges broke on the grill. Importantly, some water going.
And I have my initial batch of oysters out.
Oh yeah, good idea. And they're about ready. They're cooked, they just don't have the color I want yet. All right, so I got that same bowl I mixed the tomatoes in. We got shrimp. I got about a pound of, this is the 2125 large shrimp. Use that leftover thyme, leftover oregano, dump it on in there. Leftover garlic, dump it in there. A little bit of olive oil, salt, a little pepper. I'm going to pull those tomatoes or those oysters. Almost. Get the color. Crisps are almost ready. I know I'm now probably like 50 minutes. My sense of timing is bad. All right, so just get a spoon, mix up the shrimp with the ingredients. Pretty easy. And then you can saute them in a pan, or what I'll do is I'll put them on a couple bamboo skewers. In the meantime, get a pot of water going.
So a trick to how I do shrimp is I cook them with the shells on, but I do it about halfway, so the inside of the shrimp is not cooked. Then I put them in an ice bath, I peel them, and at that point, I just have to do a quick finish to finish cooking them. And you're more likely to end up with a juicy shrimp than something that dries out.
Yeah. I actually sometimes eat the shell.
Oh, so I always save my shells because this is what I use for making shrimp fish stock.
Yeah. All right, so by now, we're pretty good with the Parmesan Crisps. They've gotten crispy. They're probably still a little soft in the middle. They'll break those in a minute.
So you can do that.
I got my oysters done. I got four oysters right now. They're draining. The crisps will be done. I got more oysters on. Tomatoes will be done in a second. I got water. It's gonna be a rush to get the water going.
So I was just showing how easy it is to peel it off the aluminum. You end up with a nice little crisp.
Yep. So on your water.
I can't wait. So I'm gonna eat one.
Yeah, go ahead. So I got a couple quarts of water here. I got a just a linguine. Pretty what does it say? So I just got it going hot, get it going to a boil. We're gonna be pushing it here, but all right. Oyster, second round of oysters almost done.
So update for those of you who are throwing questions in the Q&A part, for whatever reason, that part is not working. So please ask them in the chat. So I can see that you've asked a question, but I can't, oh, you're saying you can't type in the chat. Okay. Huh. I don't.
All right, in the meantime, I also got just some cilantro here. Cilantro, I'm a big cilantro fan. Not everybody is. My father-in-law can't stand it. He gets the irritating. So just rinse it, I wrap it, and I'm gonna just do a quick chop on it. Tomatoes should be ready in a second. It's like Iron Chef. I will finish one dish. All right. Let me at least get one plated up real quick here. So just, yeah, Bryson, your approach probably works better than mine. Usually. All right, so you got a bit of a Parmesan crisp there. The whole thing didn't survive. That's why I said make a bunch. So what I'll do then is put a little bit of the avocado cream on the bottom. Put an oyster on. Put a little bit of the sriracha mayo on. I know the camera gets there. And then get a little bit of that cilantro. Run a knife over it, or you can just put a whole leaf on it. Drop it right on top. I've got the little pickled onions going, so I'm going to drop one on top. But it looks like that. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Lots of color, lots of different flavors. No particular cuisine inspired, but bottoms up.
Just delicious.
Yeah, that works. you don't like the sauces, you can adjust. All right, I'm gonna go get the tomatoes, check them on the grill. Be right back.
All right, well, for those of you at home trying to play along, I'm sorry that the chat and the Q&A are not really working correctly. Technical difficulties out of my control. But please post pictures of what you're doing at home and tag us so we can see what deliciousness you've made. Because I got to say, I'm very pleased with both of mine. I did the sour cream and mayo dips, one with horseradish. The other one I did a little bit of a leftover spicy habanero with nope sauce, if you remember Dan Tentler's episode. So I threw that in there, and I had made a barbecue sauce with it, so cut it down with ketchup and sugars and different flavors. And I got to say, that was fantastic with the Parmesan Crisp and the oyster.
All right, so the tomatoes are good to go. So if you see the way I did the grill, you see a little bit of color on them, see how they're wrinkled and popped. That's what you want, because they let go a lot of that juice. And then smell like the grill. Good things right there. Still got one in the oven. I'll pull that out. Take a look at it right now. Also got some mozzarella going on the side that I'll pull out. Yeah, I mean, these are pretty good too. I mean, you get the split. Don't have any color on it yet, so let me throw. And they can go a little bit.
Hey Chris, what are we doing? What are we doing with the mozzarella?
So we're going to put the mozzarella in with the pasta.
All right, so I should not be putting my mozzarella away. I'm supposed to be doing something with it.
Yeah, the mozzarella. So just shred it, slice it, however you want to do it. Probably, you know, just try to get it.
Really easy to make at home, by the way. Not hard to do. And you don't need to be too specific about how much you cut it or shred it, right? You just chop it up small enough, it'll melt, it's good.
Yep. All right. Pasta's going. Or maybe I should have gotten the fresh stuff. Yeah, we're gonna go until it goes al dente anyway. All right, so on the tomatoes, you can just let them rest. We got our half's done. We've got the water boiling. Tomatoes are done. Shrimp now. So what I'm going to do, again, I'm going to grab a bunch of skewers. When I'm grilling shrimp, I get 2 skewers. 2 skewers, and drop them down so they don't spin, so you can actually cook both sides of them. So I'll just do 1 skewer right now. Pretty straightforward. Drop them on. Remember, you got olive oil, and you got garlic, you got all that good stuff. Again, these are tough to mess up, but what I try to do here is cook them hot, cook them pretty fast, but get a good char on one side, not burn them. But that caramelization really helps bring out the flavor, and then also works pretty well with the smoky tomatoes. Let me do these bad boys real quick. The error I have made here, Bryson, is I didn't start the water boiling soon enough. Shrimp will be ready. The pasta is going to be the challenge. And usually, you know, when you think about portions, I tend to get, I mean, again, sandbag, like the Harris Teeter frozen shrimp. It, you know, kids don't care. It thaws out. It's pretty good. But there's also, you know, when we go down to like the Outer Banks or whatever, there's really good truck down there in the summer. The idea is not the bigger the better. I kind of like the more the better. So a smaller, medium-sized shrimp, or even medium-large, I think is what we went with.
See, I'm a fan of the biggest ones I can get my hands on because that means less peeling.
Yeah, that's fair, but I just make my oldest kid peel them.
I don't have that luxury, Chris.
Yeah. No, it's something that he's just started doing. Before that, it was my brother-in-law. All right.
How old's your oldest?
10.
10.
Yeah.
Never too young to learn.
He's becoming helpful. Yard work, things like that. We're not where we need to be. All right. So the water. Starting to get some bubbles up, so we should be okay soon. All right, I'm gonna go throw the shrimp on. I will be right back.
So for those of you who heard how I did my shrimp, where I with the shell still on, I cook them about halfway, ice bath, peel them, and then what I do is I'll throw them in right into the sauce, and just at the very end when there's about 3 to 5 minutes of cooking left, throw them in. Shrimp come out really juicy. Of course, nobody likes to deal with the shell once you're already eating it. And so that's how I finished mine. By the way, highly recommend this trick. Perfect way to go.
All right. Shrimp's on. Let it go for it probably only needs about 2 minutes. COVID was not a problem for me in terms of washing hands. I already washed my hands like 50 times a day. Typically, I tend to do not all the cooking, but a lot of the cooking, particularly if it comes to a dead animal, I do that part. Pasta going. All right. So you're going with red. I'm going to go with rosé. See what's left here. Yeah, and try to clean up as I go along. Close out that beer.
So I have twin boys that are 11. We should get our sons together.
It works for me. You've got, can't really see it.
Because they just play with each other. You don't have to do anything.
No, that's beneficial, but I tell you what I've noticed in the last week or two is the oldest is really, I think, socially starting to suffer in the lockdown. He misses his friends. We're letting him do some of it, get out and do bike rides. But then he went on a nice bike ride a couple weeks ago and came back, and the next day it was like everything itches, just like poison ivy everywhere.
How did he get into poison ivy when he was biking? He got off the bike and like ran through the forest?
I don't know. These are questions that I just don't know the answer to. All right, let me go check on them.
That sounds like a proper childhood. I think I had poison oak every weekend.
I had the good fortune of being immune when I was a kid. I can get it now, not too bad.
Spicy.
All right.
So delicious.
Oh, dang. That's the one thing I didn't add to the tomatoes, and I'll do it now. I like spicy stuff. Not like, I haven't had the nope sauce yet, but I'll throw a little bit of sriracha in.
I tried to bring it to you. You didn't recognize who I was.
Those were the early days of COVID, and
Why are there people that wear beards now that didn't
there's
have
a
beards?
strange man at the door.
You were so funny. Like you're like, who are
Can I
you?
help you? All right, so the tomatoes out of the oven are done. They look pretty good. All right, so in the meantime, we'll get the pasta station ready here. So we'll do just a big bowl when we cook the pasta. Hopefully we'll get this done. Almost boiling. Yeah, that was the biggest thing I missed here. Didn't start the water soon enough. Otherwise, we would be plating right now. Just on time. So in the meantime, like I said, you got your mozzarella shredded. Go ahead and get a little bit of basil ready. Same trick, right? You just rinse it, dry it, and we'll roll it, slice it, little slivers. Not too much. I don't think this needs too much additional herbs. So, yeah, roll it, slice it. Makes for good addition. Maybe a little cilantro got in there, that's fine. Order's not ready. All right. So, anybody's got to jump since it's at the hour. Get your pasta cooked. I do it al dente. Drain it, rinse it. Get, I just got one of these tins here. Lost my mitt here. I'll throw, I got a pound or 500. 500 grams, pound or so. Throw it into, drain it, throw it into a bowl. Then I'll take just one of these, the entire container of tomatoes. I will, where's the camera? There it is. I'll toss this whole thing in with the pasta. And then if I want more tomatoes, I'll grab the other container and just spoon the tomatoes in. Shrimp are done. I'm going to go grab them. All right.
What's your recommended pasta to do with this?
So that's what I like. A little bit of red or a little bit char on there. Let these bad boys sit for a second. They're too hot to touch. But they're really easy. Just slide them off the, what's the linguine. I got some pasta. There was some fresh pasta at Cheese Teak in Del Rey last week. It was a kind of a whiter egg noodle. It's fresh. It was phenomenal. I like something that holds the oil and the sauce a little bit. So my wife likes angel hair. I like long noodles. What do you got there?
I got the pappardella from Fresh Market.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, that's good. That's perfect. I
told the cashiers you were coming.
Oh.
I was like, if there's a tall white guy who's looking for oysters, that's my buddy.
The bucatini works pretty well too if you like a super fat spaghetti. Okay, what are rolling? All right, so we're gonna toss that in. Of course, I won't do Italian. So who knows how long it's gonna take? Hopefully not long. Oh, come on. Oh, this will be fun. Not quite there. Let's reduce some volume here. Got it. All right, so if you've got time now, make a couple extra of the oysters. Everything else is just waiting on the pasta, which of course is not in yet. Hopefully you got your water going before I got mine going. That's the trick. Anyway, all right.
Hey, just a thought. Have you ever thought about reusing the oil from frying the oysters with the sauce?
With the tomatoes?
Yeah.
No. It is, I use vegetable oil. I've never thought about that. That would be.
I'm just thinking, I mean, this oil picks up a lot of flavor. I mean, you can see all the sediment at the bottom. And I just kind of wondered what that would be like reusing that.
I would probably drain it through a cheesecloth to get the sediment out. But it would have a flavor, an oyster, interesting. I like it. So one thing I have done before is I've fried shrimp.
It'd be more like umami, right? We got the sweet, we got the tart, we got the savory, and we get something a little kind of fish to. I'm gonna try that at some point.
The other thing, and like it's like something that I, as we were talking about what to do for this one, I was like, we could make pizza, but then there's a lot of back and forth, and that wasn't gonna work. What I don't do a lot of complex stuff, and this is obviously not very complex, but it's got a lot of flavor. You mentioned umami. The trick that I've started doing on steaks in particular is salt, pepper, and then onion powder. Just a little bit of onion powder on top, and then whether you're cooking it on a grill or on the stove top. All right, water's going. I use, even if I'm cooking a steak on the grill, I still use a cast iron skillet.
Yeah.
And you still get some flavor, but you get the crust. And I use a bunch of butter, not just in the pan, but on the steak as it's cooking. And I found that just, man, that makes the steak, at least that I love. Oh, these are funky. So I'm gonna do, I'm gonna only grab, so I got, the ones I got are like folded batons. So I'm only gonna grab a little bit of this to speed this bad boy up. And then the other thing is the cut you get. We were talking, a couple of weeks ago, you went and got one. You can find it at a couple restaurants, but Let's Meat on the Avenue in Del Rey, it's a butcher shop. They've got a cut called bavette, B-A-V-E-T-T-E. And it's part of the upper skirt steak. And it's a real nice, meaty, flavorful steak that cooks really nicely, has a lot of good surface area on four corners. So it's not like a long, flat steak. It's, if you get the right cut, you can sear on four sides really nicely. And it takes salt, pepper, and onion really well. And then, like I said, with the pickled onions, and then I'll make a ají verde, which is a Peruvian. Usually, it's the green sauce you get at Peruvian chicken places. That's pretty simple. That's pretty easy too. But man, that whole thing together, oh. So whenever I don't eat steak a lot, that's a lie. I do. My kids, my family, my wife doesn't eat steak a lot. So whenever she's got like a PTA meeting or something like that, I'm like, steak time. And I'll buy steak in Aldi or Costco. It works. But when I got that one night, it's from Let's Meat. All right.
So if you want to try something a little different on your steak, instead of butter, use mayonnaise.
Yeah. So that's my trick for the kids hate it, but they don't know. That's my trick for grilled cheeses.
Yeah, yep, same thing.
Mayonnaise in it.
You get a higher burn point, and the emulsification actually like sort of like time release fat.
Oh
and
man, that works perfect. All right, so the pasta's getting close. We'll drain it, throw it in the bowl. Throw some tomatoes in. I got the shrimp ready. Shrimp are ready now. They should be good to okay on the temperature to touch. Just grab however you put them on and just push them down. They'll slide right back off the direction you put. They'll slide right back off. Don't be afraid to eat one. Yep, good to go. Again, I grill everything. I try to grill charcoal 4 or 5 nights a week. Every weekend night, of course, I try. But you could also do those pan seared, hot pan, a little bit of oil, throw them in there.
That's how I did mine.
Yeah, you don't want to kill them. Pasta's coming along. I usually cook with a lot of music, but didn't want to get too much of the background.
What got you into cooking to begin with?
What's that?
What got you into cooking to begin with? You clearly love it. You're really into it. Why? What started you?
So I lived in Philly for a year and didn't get paid much of anything and didn't know anybody up there, so I was at home a lot. Had a place, had a little apartment in Manayunk, and I had to figure out how to eat on, it was about $30 a week. And so it was a lot of just experimentation. I had a gas oven, had a gas stove top, had a grill. And it was just a lot of like, what can I get dirt cheap? A lot of chicken thighs. Both my folks are from Alabama, and their idea of, God, they'll kill me if they hear this, idea of fine dining is casseroles and stuff like that, which hey, I love. A good green bean casserole or noodle bake, whatever my mom makes, really good stuff. But and I grew up in Atlanta, and in the 80s in Atlanta there was Chinese food. There wasn't a lot of Vietnamese. There wasn't Indian for sure. So when I got up to college at UVA and then up here to DC in the late 90s, all the various cuisines was just really kind of blew my mind. And so just trying to figure out what the flavors were and how to fold them all in. I'll do all week, make a faux stock, 48-hour, 36-hour faux stock. Just to, because my son, my 10-year-old, his favorite dish in the world is pho. And so we'll do that, every now and then. I'm not a big, despite this dish, I'm not a big Italian fan, pasta fan. Generally not a huge carb fan. I like protein, a vegetable, and every now and then, a little something on the side. I don't make pasta other than really this dish.
It's funny, one of the first dishes I made in the pandemic shutdown was pho. Rendered my stock. Got tenderloin from McLean Butcher and just sliced it really thin and raw and poured steaming broth over it like a traditional pho.
Well, we did ramen one night. I love Japanese food front to back. Last time I was in government, in the late aughts. There was a G8 meeting in Kyoto and spent 8 days in Kyoto. And it was like just from a food perspective, blew my mind. And I swear that's my favorite trip ever. But Japanese food in general, and not just obviously sushi, but ramen, yakitori, the kushiashi.
Mm-hmm.
When I worked for Microsoft, I went out to Seattle a lot, and of course they're great sushi restaurants, but they had a lot of really good yakitoris and kushiyakis, and go and eat like weird parts of chickens and stuff like that. All right, so this is good enough.
I'll have to share with you my ramen recipe. Takes 3 days.
We should do that.
Yeah.
All right, so this is a long damn noodle. Probably just shy of al dente. Yeah. I should have gone with angel hair.
Takes longer.
Yeah. So, but seafood, it's funny though, like, you go down to, I grew up going to the beach in Florida, and, you go down there and you get a salad, and it's like, do you want, 2 doses of ranch or 3?
The funniest salad I've ever had was in Florida, and it was Quaker State used to have their restaurant.
I remember those.
Yep, and you could get a cheeseburger salad. It was literally a salad, and they just put like cheeseburgers on it.
Yep. Fried fish is always good. Fried chicken's always good. Killer though. We eat, with 5 kids, a lot of tacos. I make pizza. I make the dough. We'll do that. Every other week. It's just easy, kind of just it's a conveyor belt type thing. Salmon, the kids love salmon, so we'll go and I grill it. Just get a big side of salmon from Costco or Aldi. Throw some Asian soyaki from like Trader Joe's. Throw that on there.
You ever do it on a cedar plank?
I've done that before. It's just for what I need to do. It takes a little too long.
Well, it's extra work, and it's hard to like.
Yeah, and I try to do direct as much as possible. And salmon just is one of those fish that really holds up on the grill really nicely. The best thing, I've made home smoked salmon. So dry brined it for a day, and then left it in the fridge to dry out. And then it was like 2.5 hours in the smoker at about 180, 190. Man, creme fraiche, capers, pickled onions. Well, that's one of the best things I've ever had. We'll make that for Christmas or Christmas Eve. All right, so you got your pasta ready. Mine's, good Lord, I'm a bad judge of time. Shrimp's good. Got everything else, tomatoes. Hopefully everybody's enjoying a beverage or two. So how are you hanging in there with COVID?
So I mean, it has been a significant adaptation. Company-wise, I mean, I've launched a growth company that we were anticipating a capital raise this year. That is not happening. Very bad environment to try to do that in.
Yeah.
But we have pivoted on that, and March to May were a little weird, but sales have started picking right back up. The thing that I've learned, having been through multiple ups and downs in different parts of industry, is that if you have something that's good, you will come out on top through it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, what we're still trying to figure out, still trying to get our arms around, what are the challenges that organizations are having as they go through the digital transformation? A bunch of companies that were ready to go, they made the flip, still struggling with the machines going outside their perimeter. But I still try to put some buckets around things. You know, what are the strategic things that people need to do? What are the tactical things they need to do? What are the technical things they need to do? Those are the sorts of things that we're really trying to get some trend analysis around and use our, whether it's the data we're pulling off of Einstein, the IPS, IDS across the federal government, our continuous diagnostics platforms. What we are finding is the organizations that made the shift to EDR and host-based capabilities were really well positioned. I was talking to a company today that got popped last week by CryptoLocker, one of the variants, and you know they accelerated their 1-year plan. They deployed in about a week. They're still seeing the bad guys bang on their door.
I mean, so Dr. Paul Rosenzweig, who was just who used to be at DOJ,
Yeah,
he gave an international webinar yesterday.
He was at DHS too.
He was? Yep.
He was the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Policy. He worked for Stuart Baker.
Yes, that is true. I was just trying to go with the agency that was doing something at the time, Chris.
Ouch. That hurts. I feel seen. All right, I'm gonna drain these bad boys. Keep going with your tirade.
Yesterday, talking about what the post-COVID environment was going to look like from a security perspective. And one of the biggest things I point out is the threat does not drive these things, right? The threat goes to where the organization is. And so that's the biggest change that we're going to see in the post-COVID environment.
Yeah.
How much more distributed remote work from home kind of situation we're going to have, and how the threat tries to take advantage of it.
So I agree with that. I guess one of the things that I'm really trying to think through is from a business resilience perspective, what's going to be different? How are organizations going to look at their supply chain differently, just-in-time delivery, stockpiling and inventory? So noodles are drained, noodles are in the bowl. Of course, I forgot to save any water, pasta water. So what I'll do is I'm going to grab one of these containers. So we can flip this up.
Well, for our audience at home, why do we save the water?
Thicken it up a little bit.
So the water takes the natural starches from the pasta, and so it's like a heavier.
It adds, it's not quite like adding cornstarch to something, but it adds a little bit of thickness. Hey, can I borrow some of yours? All right. So I'm going to grab one of these cake tins and dump it in. And this is probably, this is about 2.5, 3 cups of tomatoes and the fixings all in there. And so I'll kind of, goose it around, see how it looks. I'll mix it up. This is not a dish that that has a really, creamy or well-blended sauce. This is a chunky dish, really, maybe rustic. I don't know. I think I'm gonna.
That's whatever I call it whenever I'm lazy. I'm just like, I didn't chop it that closely.
Yeah, right. I actually made something like
grandma would serve.
Right. So I'm gonna put a few more tomatoes in. Tomatoes are good. Could put a little bit more of the liquid in. Maybe a 1/4 cup. Now we are going to throw, a few shrimp in. Again, this is, enough for 2 people, probably 3. Just throw some shrimp in there and then mix it around. Got some slices of mozzarella. Just tear it up in there. It'll melt and get nice and stringy. Throw some basil in.
Yeah, so the way I like to do that whenever I have green herbs like this, particularly basil or cilantro, I'll put in a little bit beforehand so the flavor kind of melds, and then the very end, so it's still, there's sort of kind of like a few bites of that bright.
Top it. Yeah. Yep. All right. Now, if you can do this another way, but again, I'm feeding 5 kids and I'm not plating their damn individual plates. You can do the twist, right? You get a plate. Yeah, if you got it, trying to impress somebody at least. Grab pasta, pick it up. It's already mixed a little bit with the sauce, so it's got the good color. This is the longest pasta I've ever used. Drop it, twist it. You can put some of the shrimp on top, a few more tomatoes on top. Got a little bit of the basil. Toss a little bit of the mozzarella on if you need it. But that's it. I mean, that right there, that's something that I've worked on. Again, nothing fancy here, for about 10, 15 years. You know, my kids love it. Wife loves it. The tomatoes themselves, if you take them out, if you blend them, it's a really good pizza sauce. It's a really good base for a sauce, for anything Italian, frankly. It's just solid, particularly if you got a grill. It works. I like it.
So I'm gonna set us up for our official shot. This is how we end the episode, is you and me showing off what we did.
Yeah, you got better looking basil than I do, but yeah, there you go. All right, so again, love this dish. Hope everybody was able to keep up. Sorry for the the fast pace at the beginning and then the slow roll at the end. Happy to take any questions. Bryson, we can facilitate the Q&A afterwards. Enjoy it.
Actually, our Q&A I think is busted. So this is the first episode where we've had a problem. The go-to meeting was not Q&Ing correctly. So people were able to submit them, but I can't read them. And then apparently people could not put it in the chat either. So I will log a ticket.
Oh. You got a little bit of that mozzarella, yeah.
I got a lot of it. The thing I really like about what you introduced me to was smoking the tomatoes. That is such a like game changer to all of this stuff. Because I used those tomatoes you gave me a few weeks ago in just multiple dishes. Yeah, it is such a difference.
So my wife keeps telling me I should quit my job and sell the tomatoes at the farmer's market. I just looked at her. I was like, do you have any idea what the lost leader that would be? No, but it's tremendous. I'll use it. You know, when people have when they do like meal trains, kids or people are sick or have babies or whatever it is, and you sign up for the meal train, we'll give containers of that, make pizzas for them. It's a really simple thing to do, but make it sauce on a grill with hardwood smoke. So
I love it. One of the best parts of 2020 for me.
All right, man. Well, hey, appreciate everybody. You know, I hope everybody's staying safe out there. Tough times all around, pandemic, a lot of the civil unrest, racial tensions. It's a good time to kind of rethink our priorities and where we are and what more we can do. I think this is the InfoSec community in particular has a real opportunity to help and bootstrap some folks. We've got record unemployment out there. At the same time, we've been told for 10 years that we don't quite have the cybersecurity workforce that we need. So what is it that we can do together to help close that gap? And so at CISA, we're trying to help out there, opening up a lot of our training, trying to really ramp up our hiring, bring more folks in. Anything we can do to help, if you've got any good ideas, please do reach out. In the meantime, good to see you. Hope you had a good Wednesday, Bryson. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for joining us this evening. And reminder, everybody at home, our charity for tonight is Black Girls Code. So contribute to a good cause and continue to make everything better. Chris, this was delicious.
Hey, thanks. Sorry for running 30 minutes late.
That's all right. Take care.
Cheers.